皆様ごきげんよう、メイド水木の屋根裏教室にようこそいらっしゃいました。Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I've never said good morning on my streams before. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Mizuki Meido's Japanese 101. こんにちは。ということで、today we have this awesome guest, Shimo Hisae さん、or Hisae Shimo さん。Shimo さん、こんにちは。
こんにちは。
こんにちは、かわいい。もうかわいい。めっちゃかわいい。ということで、プリガさん、ミックス・マーチさん、ムランドさん、待機ありがとうございます。Thank you for waiting. はい。で、people call you cute mo?
No.
かわいい。はい、ということで、so, we'll start with introducing ourselves. I feel like I'm gonna see quite a bit of names that I don't usually see because again, I don't stream around this time. So I'm hoping to see some of my followers who probably are usually not able to join my streams due to the time differences. But we'll start with introducing ourselves. ということで、シモさん、自己紹介お願いしてもいいですか
I'm Shimo Hisae. I'm a fairy cat succubus lolly VTuber.
かわいいありがとうございます。Also, let me know how the audio is because I tried, but I always fail at technology. So let me know if there's anything I can change about it. はい。ということで、こちら、シモヒサエさん、DJ のVtuber さんですね。すごいです。So yeah, she's awesome. 本日お越しくださってありがとうございます。Thank you so much for being here today. ありがとう。はい。では、I will introduce myself. So, 皆様ごきげんよう。まあね、日本人の方も多少いらっしゃるようですけれども、メイド水木と申します。Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mizuki Meido. I'm a half-dog, maid, Japanese teaching VTuber. I also teach English, but mainly Japanese. And this is what I do mainly on my channel. I teach Japanese. ということで、皆様ごきげんよう。半獣人メイド日本語教師系 Vtuber のメイド水木と申します。こうやってね、たまにゲストの方にお越しいただいて、テーマに沿って日本語を教えるっていう配信をしております。So I have these kind of streams sometimes, this Japanese 101 with Mizuki, where I have a guest over and pick a very specific, topic to talk about and teach very specifically about that topic. So, Shimo-san here today is, I guess, my guinea pig of the day. ありがとうございます。So that's what we're going to be doing today. はい。ということで、we probably won't be able to read all the comments, sorry. But if there's any questions that you would like to ask or any comments, please feel free to comment anything and also comment anything, question me or like ask me questions because I will try my very, very best to answer all the questions that's out there. お願いします。はい。ということで、本日のテーマ、today's topic is about, I think it's a very, very special topic because I'd never done anything like this before, but it's about writing emails. ということで、Shimoさん, would you mind telling me and the others, the chat, like why you chose this topic?
Because I am frequently commissioning, Japanese artists for merch, models, etc.
And I'm pretty sure you have probably found like a lot of differences between like, Japanese emailing and English emailing.
Yeah, very much so, yeah.
大変ですよね。I do feel like Japanese, especially business culture, is based on very strict manners and many unspoken rules. So I feel like there can be a lot of confusion because of that on both the commissioning side and the commissioner side. Hi. So hopefully this hour class will help a lot of us figure out both sides of how things are on both sides. And hopefully we get to commission more artists. Because it's fun to commission artists.
It really is. For me, one of the hard parts is like you can look up templates for like business emails, but there's not like a good resource for like sending like art commission emails.
Oh yeah, those are very different, I feel like, especially because
they really are.
Yeah, business email templates are usually for like companies, while art commission emails I feel like are for like freelancers.
Yeah,
So,
kinda.
Yeah, I feel like
And
that's
there's a lot
probably
you
the
need to
biggest.
include that like I've slowly kind of learned like what I need to include, but I feel like there's still a lot of things I'm missing. I just kind of like I basically read up on like how to put together like Japanese business emails and then try to adapt it for art, and like I feel like it's kind of awkward.
Oh no, but yeah, I feel you. It's just very different, and I actually have commissioned quite a few artists outside of Japan as well, and I feel like there's a lot of differences, not just in the way of speaking or like requesting, but it's like what kind of things people almost, I don't know, like accept
Yeah.
as commissions. Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest differences, like what kind of commissions artists are open to as well.
Yeah,
難しい
and
で
like
す。
some English artists would find like giving like all the information in
Mhm.
one message to be like overbearing. Almost.
難しい。Yeah, ということで、so because of that, we chose this topic and we're going to be talking about it. はい、ということで、皆様、おはようございます。Sorry, おはようございます。And I'm pretty sure a lot of you are こんばんは。こんばんは、おはようございます。Okay, おはよう。So, today's topic again is how to write emails in Japanese. Business emails. はい。So, Japanese emails are hard to write. 難しいです。すごく難しいです。So this is the first thing I wanted to touch on. Obviously, there's very different like cultural backgrounds, but I feel like Japanese language is based on manners. I see pros and cons on like both sides, as in like, English, I feel like I can be so much more friendly, and I feel like it's an easier language to get closer to people. While in Japanese, I think it's nice to, have that manners set up so that you can feel respects from both sides. So, in other words, especially when we write business emails, I think we have to understand that cultural differences. Because I definitely sent some emails in almost like too structured of a way, and I could tell that the recipient was like, why is this girl so hard, like, that's like too much.
Yeah,
so
and I have the opposite issue. I'm always like, I think I come off as like way too friendly sometimes when like dealing with some artists.
Yeah, すごく違いますね。Yeah, but I think so for this one, I think it's just really nice to know a few etiquettes and manners just to have a smoother conversation with the artists. So, these are the things that we'll be touching. Sorry, I actually have to go to work after an hour, so we'll see how much we can do.
Yeah.
But this is the menu of the day. This is what the bullet points that we're going to be talking about.
Boy, Keigo.
そう、敬語。敬語難しい。はい。But we won't be going too much into detail about 敬語。But yeah, because 敬語 is a lot. But so we'll be talking about addressing people and using 敬語. I also picked up a few sentences that you can actually use that are commonly used in emails, and some unspoken rules. And also, I tried to think of certain things, certain unspoken rules and ideas about commissioning art, and I'll be putting on my personal tips at the end. ということで、よろしくお願いします。はい。So first of all, addressing people. So, Shimo-san, I know this is a pretty easy question for you, but what's the difference between sama and san?
Well, sama is more formal, right?
So,
San is very casual.
そうです。Yeah, it's simple as that. そうそう。なんですけど、which one do you think you're supposed to use or you should use when you are writing business emails?
Sama.
Sama! そうです。
Here's another question. When is it appropriate to use sensei versus sama with artists?
Oh, that's a good question. Sensei is a way that people address artists, but I feel like that's a word that is used like within their own community, if that makes sense. Like, you know, artists calls each other sensei, or people from publishing companies will call their artists and writers sensei. So I wouldn't say it's a bad thing, but I feel like it's just more natural to use sama when it comes to addressing people as in like in a business manner. Kana?
I see.
But I mean, I personally like to be called sensei, so pretty sure a lot of people do like to be called sensei. So, that's a good question. So, Sensei, Iret-san said, I thought it was a title for master or teacher. It is, but Sensei actually has a lot more meanings to it.
Yeah, it can be used for like doctors and such too.
So we also call doctors Sensei. Who else? I guess like artist masters. Again, like manga artists, illustrators. So anybody who has a certain skill, I guess, can be called sensei. Doesn't have to be a teacher, but a lot of artists, writers, they're called sensei. ですね.
Yeah, because I usually see like some of them are like veteran artists are always called sensei, even by like fans.
Yeah.
That's how they're always addressed. So like that's what I've actually kind of wondered. I'm like, when it like. Is it appropriate to still use sensei, or would you use sama?
I feel like when we are fans, I feel like it's more easier for us to call the artist sensei. Like that's how I call my favorite like manga artists, because I feel like it's almost too casual to call them as san, but in a public setting, I feel like it's too formal almost to call them sama because So ですね, because sama originally or like is usually a way of addressing people that we usually use for like it's a highest way of addressing. Yeah, so it's like to gods, which is definitely a big stretch to like that's how we use for like, you know, like Shintoism gods, for example. And also customers, because in Japan, customer service is considered extremely important. Customers are considered gods. There's even a saying like that. And so again, it's usually used for as a highest way of addressing. And so, which is the reason why it almost sounds a little bit awkward to use sama in a public setting for other people. So ですね. 難しいですね. Yeah. But sensei, if you're like just talking about an artist you like on the internet, like on Twitter, for example, sensei is totally fine.
Yeah, that's usually what I do like on Twitter and stuff. I've just always wondered like, because I've seen some people do it in like for like commissions and such.
Yeah.
Like my mama will do that with artists she likes. She'll be like, sensei, please draw me.
そうですね。難しいですよね。でも、yeah, there's so many ways of addressing people in Japanese. I'll leave it there because there really is a lot. And it does depend on the situation.
Confused about. Like,
so
when is it appropriate to use one versus the other?
That was a good question, though. I can probably talk about it for hours just on that topic. 難しい. But yeah, so this is a little chart that I created. It shows, you know, like the politeness of addressing people. Sama is the more polite, or in other words, the most polite, and this is what you want to use for business emails. San actually is normal politeness. Kun-chan is friendly, or in other words, less polite. So I just wanted to talk really quick about the usage of san. It doesn't mean that you don't use san in business emails. It's just that this is something that you want to use within your own group, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Makes perfect sense.
Sweet. But yeah, like for example, you actually belong to a company and you're trying to address people within your company, that will be some. The moment you step out of your personal bubble or your personal group, it becomes sama. Just like, if you call your mom and dad お母さん、お父さん, right? It's still polite, but it doesn't mean that it's the most polite. I mean,
yeah. My understanding
being polite is good, but
you use son amongst like equals and friends unless like kun or chan or something has been established.
Soですね. Yep, that's exactly it. Yeah, so like among equals was the question. Yeah, so ですね. It's more for among equals. When you still want to show respect, especially when you are still trying to, when it's a business setting or when you are talking to people who are older in age, it will still be some. Or even at school, for example, like like people used to call me like, maid-san in school. Teachers would call me in that manner. Some classmates, or well, not classmates, but people who didn't know me, who are of the same age, also used to call me maid-san. So it's a normal politeness. Hi. So it doesn't mean it's not used, it's just a little bit different. So, yes. ということで next topic. Hi, this is the hard one. I saw a Japanese comment previously saying even Japanese people don't get this right, and it's true. We have such a hard time with this one. So but the golden rule is to always use 敬語。でもね、敬語難しいんですよ。そう。難しい。はい。Shimoさん、have you ever heard of the 3 different 敬語 of Japanese?
I don't think I have.
Oh, yeah. So, for those of you who are learning Japanese, sorry, but there's actually 3 different levels or 3 different categories of 敬語。ちょっと待ってくださいね。久江さんの声ちょっとちっちゃい。Okay, let me pull your voice up. 多分大丈夫かな？ We'll see. かわいい。Okay. Let me know if that worked. If not, I will make it bigger. We all need to hear the cute nya voice. そう。でもね、プルガさん here said, 私は雰囲気で敬語使ってる。I feel the same way. 雰囲気 means atmosphere. So it's kind of like a lot of us use 敬語 with the flow. It's just a flow kind of a thing. So anyways, for those of you who don't know, 敬語 is called honorifics in Japanese. I mean in English. And there's only, from what I know, there's only 2 languages that has honorifics, which is Japanese and Korean. Honorifics is a very polite way of speaking and obviously writing, but the polite way of languages. But the difference between normal polite languages versus honorifics is that the grammar literally changes, the choice of word changes, which is the reason why it is a little bit more difficult than a lot of people think. And so 3 different 敬語 is 謙譲語、尊敬語、丁寧語. We won't go into detail for this one, but do I remember humble and polite, but I forgot the 3rd one. Oh, humble and polite, those are good ones. So it's kind of like humble, polite, and respect. That's what it means. So there's certain types. 丁寧語 or the normal polite way is probably what you know as です and ます, putting です and ます at the end of the sentences.
Yeah.
It's hard, but I would still say it's the simple one. 結構簡単かな? Well, I wouldn't say it's 簡単, but it's the most simple one. ですね.
Yeah.
で、尊敬語 is the respect format of the language. You use it when you want to show that the person you're talking to is higher in status, for example, when you are wanting to show respect towards them. And then, 謙譲語 is the humbling language, which means that it's a very specific type of language when that you can use when you are trying to, I wouldn't say like to put yourself down, but lowering yourself so that the person who you're talking to will be higher up than you are. It's another way of showing respect.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, there's 3 ways of 3 different categories, but to make it simple, start by using desu and masu sentences. I think this is one of the biggest differences because I feel like, for example, in English, you can add on certain words. Like you can be like, oh, thank you versus thank you very much. Thank you very much is a lot more polite, I feel like, or I appreciate it, So in Japanese, when you're trying to read,
I don't think English like has as much emphasis on polite with the language so much.
Yeah, I think English is definitely a friendly language, which is good because I feel like I can easily put exclamation marks on my emails and not get judged. When I'm writing in English. In Japanese, you have to put periods, like that's another thing. But
yeah, it's something I've done a couple of times on accident. I'm just like, I get this sketch and I'm just like, it's so good.
But you want to show your excitement, right? So it's like, I want to show them that I'm excited.
Yeah.
I feel like while corresponding with the other person, like sometimes you might start feeling a little bit more casual, and I might sometimes throw in exclamation marks here and there. But yeah, Japanese emails use periods. Kana? But I made this very easy chart. I feel like this is how I view English and Japanese as in differences. Both are obviously really good, but I feel like English is again a lot more of a casual language, and structure is not as important. We'll talk about structure because I don't want you to get confused. Structure doesn't mean as in grammar or sentences. There's actually formats of emails that you are kind of supposed to follow in Japanese. While in Japanese, there's very specific rules, like how you're supposed to address people, like the way of writing has to be this and that. So I think this is the big difference. よかった。But yeah, I feel like it's on the opposite side. It's like the mirroring side. だと思います。
No, that was the thing I had to learn.
難しいね。そう。English has lots of its formality, which I don't necessarily agree with. Mr. and Mrs. aren't even used as form of address anymore. Oh, I guess that's true. I guess, yeah, because that's true. I feel like when I was in school, English that is taught in Japan isn't really real English. It's very fake English, but...
And it's kind of similar, I've learned, to how they teach Japanese here. I can actually pick up on when someone is a non-native speaker because of how I learned.
Yeah, it's it's very easy, isn't it? It's structured. Yeah. Structured.
It's very structured, but the way I would describe it is they teach you how to basically literally say English sentences in Japanese instead of actually
translation.
Speaking. Yeah. And so I can always tell because, you get the "watashi wa anata" type stuff, and it's just no.
Yeah, I am. So I think that's
one of the big things to get used to is use the person's name instead of
oh yeah. Anata. Oh yeah, so anata, for those of you who didn't know, anata is actually not really used in Japanese. So it's almost considered rude sometimes. 難しいですね. Yeah, Japanese doesn't really use pronouns like he, she, they. It's not used, so yeah, that's very different because culturally it's different. So ですね.
It kind of exists when talking about someone else, like kare, kanojo type thing, but
そうですね。Yeah, so 彼 which can be translated he, 彼女 which can be translated into she. We usually just use it when we're talking about boyfriends and girlfriends. Yeah, I feel like older generation might say 彼, 彼女 sometimes, but it's used, I feel like it's almost used when people don't want to talk, like say, like we're talking about this person, you know, maybe they're talking bad about a person behind their backs and you're like, you know, he who you're talking about.
It comes up a lot when talking about anime.
Oh yeah, anime.
Yeah, like anime characters.
Anime characters? Yeah, always remember, anime is fiction, everybody. Anime people don't talk in the way normal people do.
Well, yeah, that. But I mean more like when I'm talking with like Japanese friends, like when we're talking about a series, like. We'll be like,
oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah. Come on.
Yeah, this girl is face into it, for example, right?
True. そうそう。私はあなた、もしかして入れ替わってる? Yeah, that's a very Japanese anime intro. That's a good one.
Well, but it's one thing, the watashi wa anata thing is actually how they'll teach it, I've learned in a lot of places in the US at least.
Yeah, I bet.
I've gathered.
Because I feel like I don't think it's unnecessary to learn it. It's good to learn it, especially because, you know, especially when you already have a language set up in your brain, which is English. You want to know what you would say that in another language. So, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, because it is how English is structured. Like, I want you, so you feel like you need to say the I and you. But I think that was one of the hardest things for me to learn is when it's right, like drop subject when I was learning Japanese and like getting used to that. Yeah. So for those of you who didn't know, in the chat, in Japanese, we actually don't say I as much. Subject matter can be dropped. And my personal, how I would usually explain it is that when you are changing the subject, that's when you want to address the subject. Yeah.
When you are not changing the subject, you can just drop it and keep on going. So, ね。待って。So isn't anata used when Kai-san said, isn't anata used when wives call their husbands like dear? Or is it anata? Yeah, so anata, you, is I would say it's like nobody really uses it. I think my grandparents used to use it maybe. But
you hear it a lot in anime.
Oh yeah, I bet. Yeah, but it's a way that wives do address their husbands. They're like, honey, anata. Yeah, that's the way that they say it. So again, very different. 結構違いますね。But, そうです。Okay, so if anybody doesn't have any other questions and stuff, so I guess we'll move on to the next. Sorry, I hope that you don't feel like I'm rushing through things.
No, I don't mind. I guess actually it's a good time to ask what I actually asked you about previously about going over was when is it right to use like anata versus like someone's name in a conversation, or like he, for example?
That's a good question. I would say almost never. And this is the reason why. So anata, kimi, and those kind of stuff that you hear in anime and like, you know, fictional stories, it's just I think it's more of a way for characters to try to call other people.
Yeah.
In reality, I feel like sometimes anata とか kimi, people maybe use it when they don't know how to address the other person they're talking to. Like, they maybe don't know their names, they maybe look like they're in trouble and stuff. But I also feel like, you know, language evolves. Who knows what will be the norm in 5 years. But I feel like, especially in the modern days, like in the past few years at least, or past 10-20 years, or past 10 years maybe, anata, kimi, those like you, is only used when the person who is talking is almost like looking down on the other person, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's how I've gathered it. But I've had a couple, like, so I have a few friends I converse with, and I've had them use it towards me a few times to ask me questions.
So I feel like how can I say? I don't know how to explain it, but it doesn't mean that people don't use it. I probably use it too sometimes.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't sure. I'm like, because there are some times when I'm like talking to someone, like it feels weird to like use their name when we're like, deep in conversation.
そうですね。確かに確かに。Yeah, maybe when you like just don't know, like, or maybe when it comes out naturally. Maybe that's when you want to use it. Like you said, when you feel like it's a little bit awkward, like to, address a person by their names in deep into the conversation. But I would say, like, it's probably not best to use it when you're trying to get to know the person first.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, maybe I feel this way because I am a female. And sometimes I feel like older men, I'm not trying to make stereotypes here. Like sometimes when they address like younger women, they're like Kimi, for example, because they might not be too willing to learn your name or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It does feel weird not to use someone's name for me. But it's also just like, I've had a few conversations where like, I'll ask them something and they're like, wait, who? I'm like, no.
Yeah. そうね。確かに。難しいですね。Don't really talk too much about it.
It's like really hyper-specific usage,
It is. It really is. I feel like when I use あなた like towards friends, I'm like trying to make a point. It's like, でもあなたは but you are みたいな。
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because I all my stuff, how I've learned is from like conversing with people. So I just see how some people use it sometimes and like, okay, so it seems like it's used like sometimes, but like
yeah, not often, but it's not used.
Yeah, exactly.
難しい. But I don't know, I feel
and
like,
so, like
I would
something
only...
one of those with like some words I've learned that like there's like specific times to use it. So I'm like, I don't know, is there a specific time to use those?
I would say maybe when I would personally only use it when I'm really close to somebody. And I would probably almost say it like jokingly, if that makes sense. Like I wouldn't use it in a strict, like, a very serious situation. But maybe
I think I've had it used towards me before is when we're like talking about favorite like artists or something, and they're like, あなたの好きな artist は that type of thing, right?
Yeah. そうですね. Maybe when 難しいな. 難しいな.
Yeah, it's like, cause like I was like, okay, like what's your favorite song? And then like, あなたも好きな曲 type, and I'm just like, so like I see it used sometimes, but yeah, it's definitely. I guess it's just situational, right?
I feel like maybe when people are asking questions, but the question isn't coming from a very specific source, like, maybe there's a questionnaire or something, or maybe it's a question that a lot of people ask, like a person asks a lot. Maybe that's when it's like, あなた is used as the beginning of a question, like あなたの好きな色は何ですかとか、あなたの好きなアーティストは誰ですかとかかな。Yeah.
That's what made me think of that question originally, but good to know.
Well, I'll look into it because I feel like I'm gonna have to go dig into a rabbit hole almost.
I feel like it could just be one of those like quirky things that like some people do. That's just how they speak, maybe.
That I do agree though, because it makes. I feel like in Japanese, there's definitely a lot more types of languages depending on the character or personality of the person. So I can also see that.
Especially because, I talk to them online. There's a lot of really
quirky people. Internet is a very fun, crazy place.
Yeah, there's an artist I really like, and they talk like a shonen protagonist.
Oh, yep, that's definitely yep. That sounds like the internet.
Yeah, and I'm just like very much a struggle to like keep up with sometimes.
Oh, I feel you. Yeah, internet is definitely a place where you can find those people.
Yeah, so that's always been that's I think been the biggest struggle for me is like learning how to filter that out from how I learn.
Oh,
I definitely picked up bad habits originally.
難しい. Yeah, but I don't. It's really hard because it's like, well, then where are you gonna find real people? Almost, like to talk to. Like internet is a place everybody like pretends to be somebody else. At least in Japan, I feel like so.
Yeah, but also just like really casual conversations just tend to be really
so
different
casual.
from like yeah.
Hi. Well, I'll get you back on that because I'm actually getting interested in like how people use it.
Yeah.
If there's any certain rules to it.
Sounds like there might not be a rule to it. It might just be like personal.
Maybe そうですね. But Irit-san said, this is starting to sound more strict than the practice we have at our university. Well, what can I say? This is real Japanese. Just kidding. Maybe. そう、難しいけど。日本語はね、it's such a high context language. Everybody uses in different manners.
Yeah, and it can just depend where you're from.
Exactly. More. Gosh, I have to be careful because there's a lot of words that I didn't know that is my dialect. And I accidentally used some in streams, and I don't want people to figure out where I'm from technically, like, originally. So I have to be really careful. I have to like relearn what my actual like dialect is, because I'm like, wait, people don't use this in Tokyo. Yeah.
And I've had the thing of where I've picked up some of those things just from the friends I talk to.
Oh, so people are like, how did you get that word?
Or so I've had some who ask me like,
oh, what does it
assume I live in Japan, right? They assume I'm like a native speaker, and I'm like, oh no.
It's just very specific words that are used by specific people that I know.
Yeah. I remember one of my friends is like when I was getting used to like speaking Japanese, they're like, no, you shouldn't learn from me. I speak awful.
I sometimes feel that way too. I sometimes feel bad because I'm like, I know I have a very sometimes weird pitch and intonation, and I'm like, I don't know if I really should be doing this. Sorry, everybody who calls me sensei. Yeah. でも難しい。もうね、日本語難しい。ネット界は変人が多い。そう、ネットは変人が多いです。Weird people on the internet. Yeah, that's what makes
a part
it
of
fun.
It for me has just been like, my priority's just been I want to be able to get my thoughts across clearly and as respectfully as I can, but most importantly, like clearly, so there's like not any miscommunication. That's kind of how I've approached it,
That's good. I think that's the nicest way and like the best way to approach a language though, because I guess it depends on the person, but language is just a tool of communication, so as long as you can express yourself and get your point across, then you're succeeding in it. That's how I like to see it.
Because I want to be like as respectful as possible, but at the same time I'm like I'll sacrifice some like being respectful for like just being able to get my thought across clearly, And I feel like, especially with artists, like they'd rather like know what you're wanting more specifically than it being worded the nicest.
そうですね. Yeah, I really do agree on that. Like a lot of people even have like questionnaires. Like, is this what you want? Like, tell me what you want. The angles that you want. So, はい. Okay, so 次ちょっとね, sorry, before we get into another rabbit hole, because we can be talking about this for hours. We should do a podcast.
I'm down.
Well, we'll be talking a little bit about sentences that you can actually use. Sorry, I see that I'm in the way. ちょっと待って. Okay. Okay, I made it smaller. I hope you can see this. はい、ということで、I prepared. Sorry, I forgot the English word. はい。I prepared a few sentences that you can use in actual emails. And I'll also explain like what they actually mean because a lot of them can't really be directly translated into English, just how languages are, So the first one, repeat after me, Shimo-san and chat. お世話になっています。
お世話になっています。
かわいい。はい。or お世話になっております。
お世話になっております。
はい。So, this is actually the different levels of 敬語. This is the very same two sentences, but なっております is more polite than なっています。So,
yeah, I gathered.
If you want to, you can try to memorize as ています. ています is the Japanese present tense format. Just remember that ております is the more polite way of saying ing in Japanese. ております。はい。そうです。So, お世話になっております. This is, I think, is one of those unspoken rules of Japanese emails. You will actually want to put this at the beginning of every email. Almost. So, this actually means thank you always for your kindness or support. So, 私がお世話をしありがとうございます。So, お世話 actually means to take care of. プルガさん says, 私がお世話をします。That means プルガさん is going to take care of us. Yay! Probably feed us. Pay for our rent. Just kidding. まあでもbut そうです。お世話 means to take care of. But a lot of people find it really weird sometimes to put this when you're corresponding with somebody for the first time. But this is, again, just an unspoken rule. It's more of like what I was taught when I used to work in like hotels and stuff, like part-time jobs when I was in high school. And like when you would get special like guests or when you were when you would get reservations, like you would want, or when you're corresponding with people of a different hotel or a company, you always want to start with お世話になっております because it doesn't mean that you already have a business contract, but it's more of like you are going to be good to each other from now on. It's like both of you are already in the industry, and in a way you're already taking care of each other.
Yeah,
so I don't really know
actually
the
something
details,
I noticed in all the like business emails I've gotten replied to. They always start out that way.
Yeah, お世話になっております. So yeah, you can put this right after addressing the person. So like 何々様, like ABC 様. And then before you start the in English you'll probably say hello, or like, I don't know if anybody actually says like greetings, but Japanese, instead of saying こんにちは, こんにちは, for example, isn't really used. This is the email version of こんにちは, I guess. Put this at the beginning and you'll be good. はい。お世話になっております。です。次。はい、これですね。お疲れ様です。You probably have heard of this. お疲れ様です。お疲れ様です。I say this too. そう、しもさんお疲れ様です。But this is something you do want to be a little bit careful of. Oh, yeah, repeat after me, chat in front of the screen. If you're alone, you can repeat after me too. お疲れ様です。
お疲れ様です。
はい、かわいい。ありがとうございます。助かる。はい。まあでも、お疲れ様です means like good job. If I break this down, 疲れる is a verb that means to get tired. So it's more of like, good job, thank you for your hard work. It's like you must be tired after so much work kind of a thing. So, 待って、天城さん、水木様、お世話になっております。いいですね。That sounds very professional. So, 配信お疲れ様です。ありがとうございます。But again, you can only use this for your coworkers. So again, this might not be something that a lot of you will use, especially when you're personally. そうですね。Yeah, use it for streams after streams. そう、お疲
Not
れ
a stream
様。
for after stream, you just spam the 8, right?
そうそうそう。Do you know why it's 8?
Yeah.
パチパチ。そうそうそう。パチ
Yeah,
パチです。Yeah. So, yeah, for those of you who didn't know, the reason why Japanese people say パチパチパチパチ 88888 after the stream is because the noise of clapping,
Yeah.
onomatopoeia wise, we call it パチパチパチ. It's close to 8 as in the number 8. So that's why we say パチパチパチ. 8 8 8 8. Yep. Weird Japanese stuff. Internet slangs. はい。
I've learned too many for my own good.
Oh, I bet. I mean, it's a nice one. So much easier to type
Yeah.
too than like, you know, the clap emoji.
Yeah.
So now you know. パチパチパチ. But yeah, so お疲れ様です. You can use it when people are done with streaming. You can type in お疲れ様 when we're done with the stream. お疲れ様 again means good job. The reason why you don't want to use this for people who are a different company or the artist you're commissioning is because お疲れ様 is just simply 丁寧語, the polite way of speech. It's not the respectful way of speech. Doesn't mean it's not polite, it's just that it's not polite enough to use this to people that you're having business with. そう難しいですね。The differences. はい。
I didn't actually know that one.
あ、本当ですか。そう、お疲れ様です。It's a really hard one. Like, some people might feel like you are almost like, it's not like looking down on them, but some of them might feel like you don't realize the power balance. I don't want to use the word like power balance or anything, but yeah.
But I mean, I understand what you mean.
よかった。
It's like yeah, I mean, there's kind of like a hierarchy, right?
そうですね. It's just a social hierarchy thing. Like, if you're the one who is commissioning, like, you want to show the respect. But I mean, you know, like the artists, when they respond back, they will do the same thing. But so.
That's how we pick up powder.
Yep. It comes naturally.
Yeah.
そうですね。はい。ということで、so that's for お疲れ様です。I use it all the time towards, like, you know, other VTubers. You can comment on VTuber streams, but when it comes to business emails, only use it for your coworkers. です。はい。では、This is what I use all the time. はい。ということで、repeat after me. 何度も申し訳ございません。
何度も申し訳ございません。
もう完璧です。Perfect. はい。So, 申し訳ございません is the way more respectful way of saying, ごめんなさい。So, ごめんなさい is actually a pretty casual way of saying sorry. ごめんなさい。申し訳ございません is the business one.
Yeah.
The business version of it. And then, 何度も means many times. So, many times sorry will probably be the direct translation of it.
Yeah.
はい。But just say that you, like, you know, maybe you are sending another email before waiting for the artist to email back or before the person to email back to you. You can say, 何度も申し訳ございません. I know that I haven't waited for your response, but I wanted to add this. And, you know, when I did that, I add this. 何度も申し訳ございません. So something like, しも
I
さ
have
ま
done that before.
素晴らしい。It's like, しも様、いつもお世話になっております。何度も申し訳ございません。And then I'll continue on with the main subject. はい。そうです。そうです。そう、何度も申し訳ございません。And then we also have this. Repeat after me. たびたび失礼いたします。
たびたび失礼いたします。
Hi. So as you can probably see, the English is the same meaning because I couldn't really think of, you know, a very specific way of translating this, but there's a little bit of difference with this. Hi. と、たびたび is another way of saying multiple times. 失礼いたします can mean sorry, but it's also like excuse me. excuse me multiple times. Like saying excuse me will probably be what it is. How I like to use it is that たびたび失礼いたします It's more of like when I'm just, maybe sending a request, or maybe when I'm, like I'm trying to do a follow-up email. And 何度も申し訳ございません. I feel like this is more, I use it a little bit more when I'm actually feeling sorry. As in, like, I have this, apology kind of feeling that I'm trying to address. So that's the little difference.
When you actually feel bad for bothering.
Yeah. So. I mean, I feel bad, but 何度も申し訳ございません. I feel more bad.
Yeah, exactly.
In the level. かな。はい。プルガさん said, 大変申し訳ございません。可愛いあなたの名前を伺ってもよろしいですかOh, that's a pickup line almost. 大変申し訳ございません. Sorry. 可愛いあなたのお名前を伺ってもよろしいですか? 伺う
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like a pickup line.
伺う means to ask. Is it okay if I ask the name of this cute person? 大変申し訳ございません. Very sorry. はい。So yeah. Many ways of using it.
Yeah.
はい。で、so that was the two ways of saying sorry. で、これ I use this all the time too. When you are in a corresponding email, because you usually do, I would like a rally of conversation, get like back and forth between artists, especially when you're commissioning, right? This is what you can say. Repeat after me. これ長いです。It's really long. 引き続きよろしくお願いいたします。
引き続きよろしくお願いします。
はい。close. よろしくお願いいたします。
Oh. I just kind of acted on instinct.
Well, it came out naturally, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
はい。
引き続きよろしくお願いいたします。
はい、助かる。ありがとうございます。But yeah, so as you can probably tell, いたします is the respectful way of saying します。はい。So, 引き続き means continuing on, then よろしくお願いします。As you know, よろしくお願いします is like, please be good to me. Like, thanks.
I use it a lot.
so thanks a lot. Thank you for your cooperation. So. So when you are, sorry. ちょっとお水飲みます。失礼しました。はい。But yeah. 失礼。But そうです。引き続き、I don't know. あれ？My voice is gone. 戻ってきた。はい。So, 引き続き means like continuing on. And again, よろしくお願いします is like thank you for your cooperation. Thank you for being good to me. I usually say this when I'm still corresponding with the artist or somebody that I'm commissioning, or, at work. When I'm sending emails and I know that the person is going to respond back again, I would say 引き続きよろしくお願いします. Or when I'm done commissioning the artist and I know that I want to commission from the artist again, I would add like it was great. It was great doing business with you. If you wouldn't mind, I would love to do this again. And I would add 引き続きよろしくお願いいたします at the end. Just to show that I'm interested in doing more in the future. はい。ということで、this is again something that you can use at the end of the email. です。で、this might be something that is the most useful when it comes to communicating with artists. ということで、repeat after me. ご検討のほどよろしくお願いします。
ご検討のほどよろしくお願いします。
素晴らしい。As you can tell, you can change it to よろしくお願いいたします。To make it more polite. はい。So, ご検討 means to consider. And 検討 is consider. ご検討 makes it more respectful. Because sometimes the artist might not be open to commissions, or you don't really know if the artist is open to do the commission that you want. And so you can say, if you would mind considering is what it means. You can list up what you want, and then you can be like, ご検討のほどよろしくお願いします。You can also see a lot of VTubers respond in this manner to like artists on Twitter when there's like giveaways and stuff. It's like, if you could consider me as an option, that would be great. みたいな。
Easy.
はい。
That'll be useful for emails I gotta write tonight.
Yeah, this is I always use this at the beginning, like the first email that I send. I don't know. It's like
that's where I was thinking you would put it.
そうね。Exactly. You don't know yet, like, how it will
if
be.
they're gonna
but,
accept or not.
You don't know their schedule, so it's like, if you could mind request, like, considering, I would love it. です。はい。で、another one. Repeat after me. お忙しいと思いますが。
お忙しいと思いますが。
はい。お忙しいと思いますが、you can add something else after, but this means I know that you're busy, but です。So, 忙しい means busy by putting o. This is called the honorific prefix. You might see, o in front of certain words in Japanese. It means that it's a more politer way of saying that specific word. So, お忙しいと思いますが、I know that you're busy, but you can say something. お忙しいと思いますが、ご検討のほどよろしくお願いします。That'll be extra polite. I'm pretty sure you're busy, but if you have the time, please take this into consideration. みたいな感じです。そう、使えますね。めちゃくちゃ使えます。So, that's all for the sentences that I had so far. 何か質問とかありますか？
I don't have any questions.
よかった。
That was actually really helpful.
よかった。I'm glad. よかったです。Glad.
And also just reaffirmed I was doing some things right.
I'm pretty sure you were doing a lot of things right. Because I can tell that you're such a, like, very polite person. Like, I'm pretty sure the recipient can tell.そうですね。プルガさん、前向きに検討させていただきます。That means I'll consider it positively. Hey, that's the way the artist might respond. So.
Yeah.
Just one more part left. So ごめんなさい. We might push through this. でも、I just wanted to go through some unspoken rules and manners. I think a lot of them are really similar to English, though, to be honest. I'm pretty sure it's with many other countries. But again, Japanese email structure is very important. You almost maybe want to treat it like you're writing an academic paper or something. You want the intro, you want the body, and then you want the conclusion. Yeah, that's what you want. The title has to be your thesis statement, so the title of your email has to be what the email is going to be about. Like, for example, if you're wondering if you can commission an artist, you want to maybe put on the title, like, a request for commission, for example. なんか、絵のイラストの依頼。
Yeah,
みたいな。はい。
I think what I did for mine, I think I specified like 個人依頼.
個人依頼. Yeah, 個人 is really important too. Because I think you mentioned it, but some artists only take requests from companies these days. So ですね.
I usually specify like 個人依頼, VTuber goods, right? Commissions.
Oh, that's perfect.
Some will make exceptions for VTubers. They're like, okay, I'll work with a VTuber, but I won't work with like normal person, right?
Yeah. So there's actually a reason behind that too, and I will talk about that later. So this name, but yeah, I mean, again, it's probably the same as in manners, but introducing yourself first is important. I mean, obviously, but you can be like, for me, I usually say 個人で活動しているメイド水 VTuber のメイド水木と申します。I am メイド水木 and I'm a personal private VTuber, and I usually also introduce myself and put like what kind of stuff I do. I'm like, I teach Japanese on YouTube and I also do game streaming とか。
Yeah.
ですね。And then, especially when people are commissioning, it's good to use bullet points. Like, it's like, this is the details I want, this is what I'm thinking of, and then you can ask for like, would you mind me sending me a quote at the end?
That's actually what I do with my Skype request.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh yeah, Skype requests. I'm pretty sure like bullet points I really appreciate it. I don't know, but that's how I feel.
I'll sometimes include my budget range as well.
Oh yeah, that's an important thing too. Like put your budget out and be like, but I would like to hear your side. とかね。
Yeah, I can work with. This is my budget, but I can like be flexible with it.
そうですね。素晴らしい。Yep. So,個人 VTuber is probably best described as independent VTuber. Indie VTuber. Oh, I didn't know that term. I will use that next time when I commission somebody.
Yep, that's how you usually write it. Like, 個人 VTuber の依頼。
そう、個人 VTuber の依頼。そう、個人 VTuber によるイラストの依頼とかね。Yeah. And then I was talking to another Japanese person last night, and he mentioned that, I feel like a lot of people forget, but, like, for example, in English, conclusions usually comes first, and Japanese conclusions comes last, but in Japanese, when it comes to business emails, conclusion should come first. And then you should proceed on talking about details, but I don't think that's a big... too much of a hustle, especially when you're used to the format. So, but yeah, so these are the little rules and manners. And then this is what I wanted to talk briefly about. Sorry, please give me like another 5 minutes maybe. But so commission rules and manners, because I think Shimo-san, you did mention that like Japanese artist commissions are very different than like English side or the other country side. And I think I've been like seeing a lot of the differences as well. So when you, as also people in the chat, and if any of the VTubers are watching the archives, these might be something you do want to put in mind. But a lot of artists will have, if they're open to commissions or not, on their Twitter profile. I know the usage of Twitter is not really big. It's not like it's not big, but I feel like the usage of Twitter is very intensively bigger in Japan. But everybody
always has one.
Yeah, everybody has Twitter. All artists will have Twitter. I guess I would say maybe like 98%. I don't know about the rest of the 2%, but yeah, almost everybody will have their Twitter accounts, and a lot of times that might be the place that they're asking for commissions, or to state if they're open to commissions or not.
They don't have a Twitter, they don't take commissions.
Yeah, if they don't have Twitter, they don't. Or they might have a contract with a publishing company or something.
Yeah.
And also, if the artist is really big, they might just have their website put on, and you might want to check their website, and that's maybe where they describe what kind of commissions they're accepting. I've seen a lot of artists who doesn't mention commissions are open or not on Twitter profile, but there's a link to their own personal website. You go to there and it talks about how they usually won't take any private commissions.
Yeah.
So that's,
or they'll mention that they don't even open commissions. They're just like, yeah, I have schedule available after X date.
Yeah. Or sometimes I feel like I've seen some artists who are like, I'm currently busy until 2024 December. Yeah. Contact me after 2024 December. So that's probably another way that they do it.
I always include in my first message to them my deadlines.
Yeah. So seeing their schedule is very important too. And then also これね ask first if they're open to overseas commissions first. I think this is one of those things that are hard. I'm hoping that the Japanese artist community will, be a little bit more open in the future, because I think Shimo-san and I talked about it, but I don't think a lot of people understand that there's a lot of people who are wanting to commission from overseas. So
Yeah,
they don't
but there's
really
also like
know.
payment difficulties with it too.
そうです。It is really difficult. そうですね。So in Japan, usually payment is not really done through PayPal. It's usually like direct transfer to bank accounts. Or when the artists don't want their personal, like actual, name to be out there, they want to use their internet name, they might even ask people to go through certain websites. For example, something like, Etsy or the Japanese
Amazon
versions of it. So Amazon gift cards.
Actually,
Yep.
I've had one who set up a page on their booth. And
that
like a one-time thing to where I could just buy it.
Yeah, I think I've seen artists do that too, yeah.
Yeah.
So Pixiv booth, there's services like Sukima, Kokonara, which a lot of VTubers in Japan use. But the hard thing is a lot of them don't accept payment or like, credit cards, debit cards outside of Japan. So that's the hard part. So I don't know. I'm hoping that the Japanese artist community will start to use more like PayPal, for example. Maybe it will be better in the future.
Yeah, I've heard it's hard to get a PayPal account in Japan though.
It is. It really is. Because Japan's really strict when it comes to sending money overseas. Like there's certain tax to that. Like when I studied in the States, that's where I went to university. I call it maid school. But during COVID, there's this one time that I was really, really, really broke. And for the first time, I had to ask for my parents to help me. And we were trying to go through a process. I was like, I just really need some money to buy food. Like, that's it. But I don't have that money. But I didn't know, but like, when you try to send money outside of Japan, they take a lot of tax money out of it. And it's crazy amount. And so it also affects like tax payment, I think. And so it's a really hard stuff. And that's why a PayPal account setup is hard, because I think you have to be an actual like, solo proprietor in order to make a business PayPal account or something. I don't know really much about it, but so it's a hard world.
Yeah.
So this.
You said there's a reason why they only take companies instead of personal persons?
Yes, there is. It's kind of a sad one, but I think we talked a little bit about like how some VTubers, like some of them are younger in age, understandable, haven't really been in the real world, so to say. I think there have been cases where artists got really, really stressed over email correspondences, because it's really hard when you don't know those rules. It does, like those rules that we went through, those sentences we went through.
The popularity of spam.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that a lot of kids, for example, learn these in high school or anything. And some artists sadly probably has gone through, like unpaid work and stuff, which is the reason why they end up resulting in only taking commissions from like companies which already has their reputation set up, their branding set up, and it's safer for them as well.
That would explain why I've seen some who are like, yeah, if you've worked with other like artists of note, that they'll make exceptions for you.
Yeah, that's probably the reason why, because like it's already almost said that you're a good person, like you're a responsible person. Yeah.
Probably helped me a bit.
Well, definitely. And it does help. I feel like the more, the longer you are on the internet, the better you'll get, as in like your reputation. But yeah, my VTuber mother as well, like they stopped taking any like private commissions, and they're like only taking company commissions at the moment, because they got a lot of, I think, like messages that didn't correspond with like the manner or structure, and I think it takes away a lot of time from the artist just responding to the emails. So 難しいですね。But yeah, that's the reason why for that. And then, yeah, this is one thing I wanted to. Oh, I recently learned the word NSFW. I was always wondering what it meant. The other day I decided to Google it, and I was like, oh.
R18.
oh, rated R. まあでも、I did want to bring this up because some artists might not accept your commissions if you do any kind of, like, you know, NSFW kind of content. In Japan, it's really important. Like, you know, you've probably heard about the culture of keeping the face.
Yeah.
And that is still very important even for artists. Especially for
all the artists I commission job for.
Yeah, so if you want like certain kind of stuff, like you want to go to certain kind of artists because they'll be open. But here's the thing. Some of the artists might not want to, especially when they take like company commissions, some companies might stop commissioning them when they know that the artist does these kind of work.
Yeah.
Especially when the company has to do with, like, you know, I don't know, like games that is geared towards kids as well. So sensitive.
Yeah, they use aliases for it.
And so to
also, not to interrupt, but you need to get going.
So そうですね。そろそろ I have to get going. そうごめんなさい。But yeah, so that's one thing. If you're a type of VTuber who does these kind of contents, just mention it first to see if the artist will be open. And just understand that there's a reason why they might say no, but there's also a lot of artists who does. So, はい。ということで。Personal tips. I will just rush through this. If you aren't confident in your Japanese, writing in both Japanese and English might be better. It's always okay to write in English, or you can hire somebody to simply translate your emails. But I sometimes feel like, you know, just stating first, my Japanese isn't good enough. Sorry, I'm gonna be writing in Japanese, but I'll also be attaching to English so that you can try to, you know, like maybe do deep translate on your own. Always ask first. Check the artist profile on Twitter. And yeah. ということで、that's it. Thank you. ありがとうございました。ごめんなさい。
One little thing that sending English is I've heard from some artists, they say not to include English in the subject.
Oh yes, that's big because a lot of us think we receive emails in English, we think it's a scam.
Yeah.
We get a lot of scam emails in Japan. So that's probably important. そうですね。That's a good point. ありがとうございます。ということで、sorry, I actually have to get going to work. なんですけど、もう sorry for rushing through, and シモさん、本当に今日はありがとうございました。お越しくださって楽しかったです。
すごく楽しかった。
よかったです。And also for those in the chat, I hope you were able to learn something new, and I hope you were able to, I don't know, commission more artists in the future, because it's fun to commission art. ということで、sorry for the rushing through ending, but これが、that was Japanese 101 with Mizuki Meido and Shimo Hisae さんでした。ありがとうございました。ということで、それでは皆様ごきげんよう。Oh, make sure. Oh, sorry. Shimo さん 's Twitter, Twitch, and I think Shimo's. Her information is on the description box down below. Sorry, that was what I wanted to say. はい。Make sure you follow her. She's awesome DJ. はい。めっちゃかっこいいです。ありがとうございました。
ありがとう。
はい。では、それでは皆様ごきげんよう。See you again soon. それではバイバイ。
バイバイ。